The gentleman yields. No one loves
Chair.
veterans more than President Trump, and he's made that apparent. That's why he's working for peace
Madam Chair,
right
Madam,
now.
it's
Madam
not
Chair.
your time right now.
I'm the chair of this committee.
That's not how
I'm the chair-
parliamentary procedure works.
You're not
Madam
recognized, Ms.
Chairwoman.
Stanberry.
You're
not
recognized either. You can't just speak anytime you want.
I'm the
That's
chair of
not
this
how
committee.
That's not how it
Ms.
works,
Stansbury,
Madam.
you're not recognized.
Madam Chairwoman, that is not how
Ms. Stansbury, you're not recognized.
all day, but that's not how
Ms. Stansbury, you're not
parliamentarians-
recognized.
We're going to get you a Robert's
Ms.
Rules of
Stansbury,
Order
you're
and
not-
the
A
committee
point of
Ms.
order.
Stansbury,
that
you're
you
not
can-
recognized.
so that
Point
you
of
can
order.
Understand parliamentary procedure.
Point of order.
Okay.
Point of order.
All right, Madam Chair, calm down. Let's move on.
Ms. Stansbury, you're not recognized. Point of order.
Madam Chair, I've
Ma-
got a, oh, I'm sorry, you had a point of order.
So,
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, can we decide who's going to speak first and we don't?
Absolutely. I'm the chair of this committee, and Mr.
I know
Gill,
that,
Mr.
but-
Gill from Texas
There
is
you go.
recognized for 5 minutes.
The nature of this job. It keeps members of Congress and senators in Washington so much of the time, too much of the time, to be honest with you, that we don't get to go home and spend more time with our families, our friends, all in our district, or maybe just be regular people, because this job is so demanding and it's turned into practically year-round. And for those of us in the House of Representatives, we have to run for Congress every 2 years. So you're practically campaigning nearly the entire time that you're here serving as a representative. So that's just a couple of examples that I can give you that I believe is a recipe for disaster. And that's how people just fall into this social club. I would call it a social club here in Washington, D.C. Now, for me, I have no interest in that. I really don't. And I'll tell you why. Becoming a member of Congress has made my life miserable. I made a lot more money before I got here. I've lost money since I've gotten here. I have people come up to me and say crazy things to me out of the blue in public places that they believe because they read it on the internet or saw it on some news show about me. So it's not a life that I think is like something that I enjoy because I don't enjoy it, but I'm committed to this job because I believe in it.
Well, I hope y'all do realize that if you really want to leave, nobody's stopping you from going.
PBS News is not just left-leaning, but it is actively uses taxpayer funds to push some of the most radical left positions, like featuring a drag queen on the show Let's Learn, a show targeted toward young children ages 3 to 8 years old. I want you to know I grew up watching children's programming on PBS. And as a mother who raised 3 children, I felt confident that I could leave the room while my own children were watching children's programming on PBS. But I can tell you right now, Ms. Kruger, specifically, as a mother, if I had walked in my living room or one of my children's bedrooms and seen this child predator and this monster targeting my children, I would become unglued. And that is how most parents feel all over this country. This is not the only example of them sexualizing and grooming children. They've been doing it for over the last decade. In 2015, PBS produced Frontline put out a documentary, Growing Up Trans, that takes viewers on an intimate and eye-opening journey inside the struggles and choices facing transgender kids and their families. This means that PBS is one of the founders of the trans child abuse industry, all while taking taxpayer money. Brainwashing and transing children is an issue so hated by parents across the country that it was a driving force in the landslide Republican and Trump victory in the 2024 election cycle and presidential race. The news that these entities produced is either resented or increasingly tuned out and turned off by most of the hardworking Americans who are forced to pay for it. They no longer view NPR and PBS as trusted news sources.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Yes, and I gather from your conversation there are a few other things you didn't know, Marjorie.
For example, you probably didn't know that Sesame Street was the first television show in history to introduce diversity in educational programming into the homes of children all over this country. I know education is not something the people in your party aspire to anyway. Or that perhaps in 1969 when Sesame Street premiered, an entire generation of children learned how to count in one way and one way only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in that exact manner. Or you might not know, Marjorie, that when Mr. Hooper, the Sesame Street store proprietor, died, Susan and Big Bird spoke so eloquently of grief, loss, and memory, grown men wept. And you probably didn't know, Marjorie, that Sesame Street didn't have just any frog reporting the news. It was Kermit the Frog. And that frog did not just have any alphabet. That alphabet had a cookie monster. And you might not have known, Marjorie, that Sesame Street teaches kindness, compassion, joy, and sharing so that the children in your state will grow up with common sense and decency and empathy so that when they do finally vote you out, Marjorie, we will be sweeping the clouds away as Big Bird straps on his roller skates and Bert and Ernie finally push their beds together as a nation jumps to their feet in thunderous ovation as flames of freedom illuminate your tear-stained face. And that, Marjorie, just so you will know and your children will someday know, is the night your lights go out in Georgia. This lesson was brought to you by the letters F and U.
You know, Marjorie Taylor Greene in there acted like, I do so much hard work for the people. I come in here, I sweat, I slave, I push conspiracy theories, I back Trump no matter what he does, and all I get is $174,000. And again, she has portfolios and she's had her money invested elsewhere. If it's really that big of a deal, listen, Marjorie, your term's only 2 years at a time, so you can go ahead and get the hell up out of Congress. But at the same time, this is really what boosts up your portfolio in terms of your online brand and your presence and your influence. So it really is all a matter of what you want. And then people like John Fetterman, ever since he had the stroke, he done lost his damn mind. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Donald Trump, who's always hucking something, always selling something. This dude is selling a phone. He sold guitars, Bibles. Right now, he's selling a $249 bottle of Trump fragrance cologne because, he hasn't put his name on enough cheap BS already. These people are absolutely insane. And look at all the slack that people like Zohran Mamdani gets. Even if you're not fully on board with all of his policies, he's a true statesman. He's a man who's answering to the people. He's a man who's doing his best to address the needs of the public. So again, he's willing to hear you out. He's good at what he does. He's only 33 years old. He's got a very bright future ahead of him. Yet you have Democrats who are going after him saying, we got to get Andrew Cuomo back in there. He's too dangerous. He's going to pull us too far to the left. But listen, at the end of the day, we need more statesmen like Zohran. And also, it's our time to shine. As I always point out, these people in Congress are dinosaurs. They're literally in their 80s. Their time has come and gone. So let's get more people like Zohran Mamdani into office all across America, because apparently the MTGs and the John Fettermans and they're not making enough money. So go ahead and step aside.